This week, we talked to a longtime Chicagoan who's ridden all over the country and is always showing up to community rides. Take a listen.
Thank you so much for joining me. First of all, is this your bike? And can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah, this is one of my bikes. It's an Alejandro frame, and the guys in California, this is a prototype, and he made 16 of them, I believe. And these frames, they're stretch frames. They make them, and you can put them together however you want. You can use the drivetrain you want, the handlebars, the different wheel sets, and they're just fun to ride. This one has a 3-speed on it, has a lot of custom parts on it, and I think I've had this one for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you actually ride it like as it is, all low?
Yeah, I'll do, sometimes I'll do 60 miles on them, I've ridden all over Chicago. We bike in, we're fortunate, we're empty nesters, my wife and I. So we bike all over. We've biked in Vegas, New Mexico. We went to see the hot air balloons we did a bike ride to see the hot air balloons take off. San Diego, LA, Toronto, we go every year. Indianapolis, Detroit, Milwaukee, all the neighboring states. But yeah, we bicycle everywhere. Anywhere there's a ride, we like to go. And the way, the whole bike life community, like people you don't even know, they take you in and they welcome us to, just because we like to ride bikes, or they host a ride. Mm-hmm. And so we get to see it from that perspective, whatever city we go to. Like Vegas, people are like, you ride bikes in Vegas? But there's a whole different Vegas on a bicycle,
Mm-hmm.
and especially when the locals take you around through the neighborhoods and behind the casinos and all the secret spots and all the little bars and everything. And it's throughout, every state is like that. So when we go, I always tell them the same thing. I says, come to Chicago, let us return the favor. Mm-hmm. So lots of times I'll get hit up by somebody like, hey, Pookie, we got friends coming to Chicago, they want to ride. And I'm like, okay, what do they want to see? What do they want to eat? And because Chicago, not because I'm by, because we live here, but it's such a great city to bike in because we're on a grid. Mm-hmm. So you can get to different places like 10 different ways and going through 10 different neighborhoods or whatever. As if you go to like California, you got to go around mountains, you got to go around rivers. You're going uphill, downhill. And they're always amazed. They're like, it's so much brick. And I love it because I get to enjoy the city through their eyes. And I just, I like it.
Absolutely. Very cool. Yeah. And how long have you been biking and what got you started with it?
I've been biking my whole life. When I grew up around this area, back of the yards, Gage Park, Brighton Park, all the south side. And when we were, I want to say, you know how they have BC, AC? My wife and I have been together since we were 12. So I know if it happened before I was with her, I was under 12 years old. If it happened after, So I know I was like 10 years old. We used to have a bicycle group, like 15 of us, and we would ride the bikes with the little wheels and the banana seat, and we'd ride around all over here on the tracks, everywhere. There used to be a Damien overpass that was like, if we wanted to be adventurous, it would take us to McKinley Park. And, but yeah, then I've always biked. I had a Mongoose mountain bike. I went from BMX, from the banana seat bikes to the BMX bikes to the mountain bike. On that one, I had all three of my kids on the back and on a cart. And so after that, we started coaching my son's baseball team when he was 5. So I took a little 12-year break. Mm-hmm. And then after they were all 18, 19, going on to different things, and I went back to biking, and I just haven't looked back. It's just, I've met so many people, lifelong friends now, through the bicycle community. And I love it. That's fun.
Amazing. Yeah. And what do you use your bike for? I'm imagining this one, you're not picking up groceries, but I know you have a lot of other options.
Yeah, I have different bicycles, and like I say, when I have some here, I have some at home, and it's like sometime I'll ride a bike home, I'll ride another one back to work. I just, whatever it feels, like riding. But I have a cart also. Like I haul a big speaker that when we do the critical mass ride, I'll bring that out, and everybody loves that because it's like probably the loudest speaker in Chicago on a mobile unit. And it just takes the ride to a different level. Everybody's like, hey, Pookie, I love your mix, I love your playlist, I love it. So I share my playlist with everybody. But yeah, something like this, I ride, you know, we do a tamale ride. I started doing a tamale ride. Let me get into this. 12 years ago. This will be our 12th year in May. And 12 years ago, my wife said, hey, people are asking what you're going to do for your birthday because they want to hang out. And I said, well, I'm going to be on my bike. I'm doing a ride. If they want to come hang out with me, they can come. So that first year, there was 12 of us. And we just rode around Pilsen, I like looking at different graffiti pieces and stuff like that. So then the following year, I started going to different tamale venues to support the neighborhood. But then as the ride started growing every year, it would take too long when we would stop somewhere. Because I also got to know a lot of people from the galleries in Pilsen. And come, they would let us bring our bikes through and see some of the art and stuff like that. And then, but by the 6th year, the ride started growing a lot. Last year we had over 200 riders.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so it became too much to try and go to one location. So I'm looking forward to this year because I've been doing rides with a friend of mine, Rich, and he does rides where we do buyouts. We'll ride and to a vendor, and so they don't have to be out because of ice and all that. Well, whoever's on the bike ride will eat there, and then whatever's left, he'll just buy it out so they can go home. And but anyways, I've been in talks with that organization. So this year for the tamale ride, I'm just gonna have like maybe 10 vendors come out, and when we end the ride, they can buy from them, and then we'll just buy them out. And the tamale ride, it's all about. It's always been about good vibes. Like we get such a positive response from the community, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like the people that come, we have people come from Toronto, from LA, from Detroit, from Indianapolis, from Wisconsin. We have, and they come for that weekend.
Yeah.
And just for that one day to do a ride around, I keep it in Pilsen because there's so much art over there and it's such a great neighborhood to bike in. And yeah, this year I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's so cool that just started as a birthday ride. And
It just started a birthday ride. One of my friends, it's funny to me because they're like, hey, what's going on? What is this for? And they're like, it's Pookie's birthday. We're doing a ride. They're just yelling at people on the street. And like I say, it's just every year it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Actually, this year is the first year I'm going to get a permit and a porta potty. Because people are always like, hey, where's there a bathroom around here? And I felt bad, so I'll have a porta potty. We'll have, the permit, and it's just getting so big.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's great.
Cool.
It's like if you go and you walk around and you'll see people just talking. It doesn't have to be about bicycles. It's just people having conversations about wherever they're from, or parts of the city, or where they plan on eating, or stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I wanted.
That's so cool. And I feel like we talked about it a little bit, but what do you like about biking Chicago? What makes it special for you?
Just like I said, it's so easy to get around in the city of Chicago. We have so much architecture, and I mean, the downtown area, anywhere you go is going to be nice to bike around. But I also bike through different neighborhoods, and I have spots that I like to go eat and enjoy and stuff like that. And then I think because I ride with different bicycle groups. There's a bicycle ride going on every day of the week. Different bicycle groups, different types of bikes. But I just ride whatever. Like I might join a fixie ride. I'll be on this. I might join, different types of ride, whatever, and I just ride whatever I ride. People might be in spandex and, helmets and stuff, and I'll just be just regular, enjoying the ride, the route. And but because I ride with a lot of different groups, I got to know a lot of different riders in the city. So sometimes they'll ask me, I'll show up to a ride and they're like, hey, Pookie, could you lead the ride? And I'm like, yeah, all right. So where do you want to go, or what do you want to see? And there's no place that I won't go. Like I'll go, a lot of people don't like to go to Inglewood. I love it. I love Hyde Park, Inglewood, Bronzeville. It's such a nice area. The West Side, I'll go on the West Side. We'll go as far as Oak Park. We'll go to Indiana sometimes, a trail. Anywhere I feel or they want to ride to, I'll lead the ride through there. And because I've been biking my whole life, I know, ins and outs, and I know if you cut down this alley, it'll take you here. And also, one of the things when I do my self rides, I like to trying to find different pieces of graffiti and stuff like that. So just on that little adventure, I'll find a different route and places to go that people won't ever see, and we'll end up with a nice mural or something like that, and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. And what do you dislike about biking Chicago? Biking for so long. Are there things that you feel like could be better?
Yeah, right now, it's funny you asked that, because right now, in my area in Brighton Park, they just put in some bicycle lanes, and it's a big issue because a lot of the, because it's on the south side, they're not used to bicycles being in the streets as much as it is on the north side. So for them, when my community put in bicycle lanes, they're angry. They're just, why would you put bicycle lanes? We need more cars. We need more cars. And I'm trying to explain to them to just give it a chance, give it a try, because it's going to bring more people out. People don't feel safe riding on the streets, busy streets. They don't ride their bikes, so they don't. But now that there's a bicycle lane, maybe there's going to be more people coming out and trying it, and less traffic. So one of the things that I don't like about biking in Chicago is probably on the south side is that cars don't pay that much attention to the bicycles on the street. Like they don't care. Like if I'm hosting a ride, usually you take the right lane, and if it's a one-lane ride, I mean, instead of being patient and waiting, they'll ride in the opposite lane to pass you up. And we're going to be there 5 minutes at the most. We'll get out of your way, but they don't want to wait. So probably just impatient drivers is what I don't like about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe one or two more questions. You've had a bunch of very cool experiences biking. So what's one of your favorite recent experiences, like a memory that stands out biking in Chicago?
There's so many, but one of them would be back to the Tamale ride. When I first started, I never knew what would come out of it. And I've had so many new people come into my life to join me on that ride. My grandson, he's from a little baby. He was on the first ride with me when he was a year old. I had a seat. He led a ride with me. Now he rides his own bike. My granddaughters, my mom, we got her what do you call it? The pedicab. So we rented a pedicab for her so she could join the ride. Because it just dawned on me, everybody's on the ride, but my mom, she can't bike. And I says, I told my brothers, let's get her a pedicab. So we got it for her. And then some of the other parents were there. And I says, hey, if you want to join, there's room. So that just brought the ride to a new level. Older crowd can't ride, but they enjoyed the ride from the pedicab. And I told the pedicab driver, I says, zoom in and out through the ride, the front, the back, let them get experience from the ride. And at the end of the ride, I told my mom, what'd you think? She's like, I loved it. I loved it. So every year, that's going to be a thing now. So every year, we're going to get her the pedicab so she can enjoy the ride. But that would probably be one of my favorite memories.
Yeah.
That she got to enjoy the ride,
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, you've been biking a long time in a lot of different cities. What do you think people who don't bike might misunderstand about either biking around Chicago or people who choose to do that?
I think people who don't bike or are not used to biking, like I said, they're afraid to be with cars, with traffic, and I would consider myself a defensive rider because I pay attention. Even though the light's green for me, there's still cars that blow that red light, and I've seen it right in front of me. And I think that's what scares a lot of people from trying to get out and ride a bike. Like a lot of people will feel comfortable riding in a park or something like that when they hear me say, oh yeah, I bike downtown or I bike to Oak Park. And they're like, how do you get there? On the streets, I bike on the street. They're like, you what? And so I think that's one of the things that people are afraid of is the traffic, the cars.
Yeah. And what do you think, people or the city can kind of do to make that better? You were mentioning bike lanes. Is that the big
bike
thing?
lanes? When you come to bike lanes, there's a difference because there's protected bike lanes and then there's just painted bike lanes. And on some streets, I don't think, that's one of the arguments that they were saying where I'm from, why couldn't they just put painted? And I says, because it won't work on Archer because there's cars that literally try to squeeze between you and a car on the left side. They don't realize that, by law, a bike should get 3 or 4 feet, from the car, and they're just impatient.
Yeah.
They're just impatient drivers. So, I believe the bicycle lanes really do help more if you're a bicyclist.
Yeah,
get around the city.
Cool. Well,
Makes
those
it
are all the
easier.
questions I have. Anything else that you want to mention that I maybe didn't ask about? Anything else you want to say to the people?
No, just that it's don't be afraid to get on a bike. It's a different city on a bicycle. If you're in Chicago, hit me up. I'm on Instagram, Pookie42, and I'd love to show you around. Lots of times people come, and if it's a smaller group, I'll let them borrow some bikes. I got bikes that I could loan out, or you could do it on an e-bike, on a divvy bike. And that's it.
Yeah,
You know.
perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching that interview. Subscribe to see more conversations with Chicagoans biking around their city, dropping every other week.